Hello everyone, welcome to another post commentary. This one is on Splatoon 2's Secret Meta Before Launch, aka episode 1 out of probably 16 of the Splatoon 2 Meta History series. I mean, there's a lot I could say for the preamble for this. I did a lot of posting on Blue Sky ahead of time on the fact that I did the note-taking process, like the actual writing the script and then voicing the script and managing that. A few months ago, all of the episodes are actually completely scripted at this point. So, because it's a bit ago, I don't have too much for that. I might go through the entire document later, once all the episodes are out, to really show off everything. But for now, I guess what I want to start off with is this episode because when trying to, kickstart this series, I figured that it would be better to start with this earlier meta because I was kind of curious about it, but also the Splatoon 1 and 2 changes are rarely talked about, and there's a few indirect Splatoon 3 things, or Splatoon 2 things that were important to cover, like the old curling bomb or the health recovery delay, that wouldn't really fit in with a later episode. So I think this nicely merges anyone with Splatoon 1 history into Splatoon 2 because it's not often talked about what exactly was changed. And, it covers a bit of history that isn't as well known. I think it's a nice new introduction, and it's one area where the old series doesn't even cover it at all. Once we get to episode 2, we'll be covering things the old series did, and spoiler alert, it's going to be way better. But this whole episode is covering, 90% things that weren't talked about, which I think is pretty cool. I really hope people support this series. As of right now, the first episode just came out. I don't even have, enough time to know how well that's been received, but genuinely, it really does mean a lot to me. So, anyway, let me get started with the video. This was a custom intro that Ollie decided to make. I had no input on this. I had no idea what they were going to do with this, and yeah, I mean, it's good, but yeah, it's entirely all he's doing here. I guess I will say, I don't know, I'm not going to talk about scheduling too much with this. Loki was originally intended to do episode 1. A lot of video stuff got switched around, though. They will definitely be doing videos for the series down the line, but it might be a little bit before they get onto it here. I also want to say something I didn't mention in the video, by the way, which is that Zip has been helping out with this and getting, access to older versions of the game so we can record specific footage, even if it's just in the training room, of what weapons were like with their specific patch changes. That will be very helpful down the line. Anyway. We gotta use the Area Cup clip again, right? Today, and I love that this was synced with this song because I'm very nostalgic for this song. Specifically, this demo version of the song that they used to reveal the game with. Massive moment, I really do remember. I wish I had recorded reactions all the way back then, but no, I didn't even think about that. But Splatoon 3 will be 2, maybe 3 more episodes if we get more third kits. This is 16 episodes, so Splatoon 3 at max will probably be 9 episodes long, so, yeah. Because the jump alone from Splatoon 1 to 2 truly changed everything in more ways than you can remember. So today, it's time to start the remake of this series. Yeah, look at the old thumbnails on the right side, the old series. Yeah. This is all Splatoon 2's, by the way. This is the compilation. And yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It took 8 episodes to cover it. So it's about double the episodes as before. Mostly because a lot of this is very condensed. But that's stuff to get into later, I think. Good background footage here, by the way, because this one is actually relevant here with the curling bombs because we talk about old curling, and this is old curling. We did look at a few older versions of the game, like some of the test fire builds, but the testimony that we had and, stuff that we could pretty consistently see happen in the matches to back up some of that testimony just did not match any of the builds that we had access to. So as far as I know right now, this version is genuinely lost. I hope there's some way to recover it at some point and be able to actually fully verify everything. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. At this point, it really is just testimony. Dude, this is something I wish I had time to talk about more in the video. It's not really relevant, but I feel like one of the bigger changes that allowed Deadbeat over here to win, this championship is that they made the decision to stick with Heavy Spotting instead of Charger, because Power is a Charger player, one of the best. But because the control scheme is so new and they had so little time, it was basically, made decision-wise that they would just run Heavy instead, which the other teams did not really do, and clearly it did definitely benefit them for that decision. So smart play. I have to give props there. So this whole list Like, I asked what weapons were available, we looked through that. I looked through the world's footage, you know, like the actual matches to verify it. I spent a good portion of time on this weapon list, and that's it. As you can see, all of the available weapons are actually right here. Like, you can see there's no scrolling, so, like, I could have saved a bit of time if I'd searched around the way Ollie did for footage, so oh well. But there it is. There's full confirmation. So there's a few things from the testimony that could be slightly inaccurate, but the weapons here, nope. We have it right here. This is proof of what weapons were available at this time.
That Stingray didn't allow you to use squid form at this time. And
neither did 10 missiles, but apparently missiles did it until like 3.0 or so, which like I didn't know. That had to be re-scripted last second. Like even in the document notes that I have it as Stingray and 10 missiles didn't allow you to swim at this time. I thought both of them were changed on launch, but no. I'm misremembering there. That's weird.
In addition to that, there's two...
Also, I can't look at this set without thinking about Donkey's edit of this. I forgot the word, which is kind of funny. No, it's however, of just however being said like 80 times.
Other smaller changes. Sprinkler seems to have a wider paint radius, but still has the Splatoon 2 rework of how Sprinkler works in this game, decaying over time. But the
Sprinkler is the one I'm probably the most unsure about, but it does make sense given how heavy the sub was changed that it might be different at this time.
Total paint output is definitely a lot larger than it was previously. The other change that I'm aware of from testimony is that Blaster does not have RNG issues in this version of the game.
Yeah, Penguin also testified to a clip in this match, basically like a triple or a quad, I don't remember. But the spec cam wasn't on them in a convenient way to showcase it here, so it's not here. But I'm putting it out there. I did get he did point to a specific moment in this game where he jump directed 3 people in this match. It's probably visible from the overhead and lower quality at some point, but I'm guessing it just didn't look good enough from the editing side because it wasn't put in. Dude, okay, this is another thing people don't know, and I don't really have any screenshots or anything of this. I just remember it. There was some clip from some trailer, I don't remember what it was, of Dynamo doing a vertical flick, and we saw how far it painted. It didn't hit anyone, it was just a vertical flick and then painting. Sometime before launch. I don't know what the clip is exactly. If anyone knows, feel free to put in the comments. But, I swear there was a clip of it, and the community dealing with, a Dynamo that was very powerful at the time, seeing Dynamo paint range that far on the vertical flick and thinking it might be as powerful as it is in Splatoon 1 was, going insane with the possibilities that this could actually still be really strong. And then, it presumably probably got gutted. I've looked at the footage for this as well. I can't be 100% sure about Dynamo, because it is Dynamon mainly using it, and Dynamon is a Dynamo one-trick, so maybe this guy is just legitimately the best player ever at this weapon, and made even old S2 Dynamo look good. But I have, some serious doubts in my head that launch version of S2 Dynamo could have looked that good. Even without armor. I don't think it's possible the things that were happening in that game could have happened. One final note about this that I didn't get to talk about in the video. There's a lot I could say about this old version of Worlds. Stingray was so shit in this build. Watching people ray in this is so funny. Pay attention to the Stingrays if you watch this back. It is hilarious how bad it is.
It felt a lot more broken from testimony. It's kind of sad to think the best vertical flick on Dynamo is probably locked.
Yeah, look at that
It's kind of sad to think the best vertical flick on Dynamo.
I don't know, man. Maybe they got hit by that guy first, but I don't know.
Dynamo is probably locked.
That might seem reasonable for S3 vertical right now to kill. The range was so much smaller back then. Nah, I don't know. I got asked sometimes to do a video on the armor as the most game influencing special ever, but one, I feel every time it's brought up I have to talk about it, and two, it's so obvious. What is there to say, right? The ability to tank one shot no matter what influences weapons very differently. Of course it does. It's always going to favor faster firing weapons and non-one-shot weapons, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's if you wanted to have ink armor in the game, you'd have to completely rebalance how you do so many of these weapons. And even with damage overlapping on armor, which frankly was a really good idea considering that wasn't there on launch, even that basically meant nothing. But you would have to balance the game around that. So blaster directs, they'd have to do 180 damage. Same for roller directs, charge directs, they all should basically leave you one-shottable. You would have to give blasters kits Burst Bomb with RB and then give them better ink efficiency to use their burst so that they could constantly burst the armor off. Like, you would have to do a billion little changes like that to try and make it work. And it's just not fucking worth it at all.
Considering it's the most meta-defining option in this game's history. And later down the line, we'll see just how different the game is.
This game's history? No, the series history. Not the most broken special ever. That is Ray by a mile. That'll be its own video, hopefully, soon. I've been waiting to get that one out since February. But, like, in terms of how it affected what was good, nothing came close to this. Nothing at all came close to this. I really like these little transition bits. Dude, this was so baffling. I remember, I think it was like a Blue Sky comment from Shadow Chimera. I know most of you aren't going to know who that is. He was like a top player in Splatoon 1 on Speedruns Live. Also played a bit into Splatoon 2 at a top level as well. Still is like around for the game. And originally, when the game was shown off, there was a lot of people who liked the fact that Splatoon 2 had weaker specials, because Splatoon 1 specials, you know, there's positives about them, but they were, in essence, like, they kind of did take away from the main weapon play, and the idea that, like, the special lineup was changing to these weaker specials and putting more emphasis on main weapons was something that some top S1 players at the time looked at, and they were like, oh, this is really cool. Now the main weapons are going to be more important. And, like, they're already pretty important in S1, but, like, now, you know, you don't have to rely on, like, QR as, like, a crutch to really, like, make them feel as powerful. The specials are, like, toned back. That's going to make this more important. And then the game comes out, and every single powerful main weapon you can possibly think of is also so much worse that, like, any positive from that is gone. It's completely lost.
And while I can't go through absolutely everything, I think it's a good idea that we break down these changes before we get started to really show just how much the game had changed.
Also, this is one of those edits that I know from doing editing myself. This had to take such a long time to do. He did not need to go this much effort into it. I respect it, dude.
Break this down by class.
And I'm like, oh my god. I know that must have taken forever to make. Yeah, it's pretty much the mid-range ones that were changed a lot, and, like, we still feel this. Splattershot Pro took until legit 10.0 to recover. Even then, I think they could buff it a little bit, like, technically. I think it's just boosted a lot because it's, like, the only good missile weapon in the game. But, like, that's how long that one took. 96 also took until S3 to recover. Granted, part of it was a kit issue, but, like, I think it really also did need a lot of the main weapon buffs that it's gotten. And then Jet Sculpture, like, I mean, Jet Sculpture's a weird case because it was good, but it was not, like, good because the main was crazy. And then in S3, it finally got its burst bomb back, but, like, with, I don't know if that's ever going to work out with Triple Splashdown, really. Like, as fun as Triple Splashdown is with it, and again, I've gone on record saying, like, design-wise, it's more important. I just don't see that Jet ever working out. I'm hoping it at least shows the devs, like, hey, burst with Jet was not the problem, and they're more open to doing it in the next game.
The semi-autos aren't doing much better. They had a bit different mobility in Splatoon 1.
Dude, look at how L3 moves. This is no run speed. Do you know how ridiculous this looked with run speed?
Where they would strafe really fast when not...
Like, look at how it, like, goes fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, and now it's uniform. This isn't a change I really think about that much, but, like, they low-key should bring this back. Like, this was cool. This was unique variable movement. I think machine movement still kind of looks like this. But, like, this set them apart more. I feel like this loses their identity a bit. I don't know why they did it. I really don't. Especially for L3. Dude, I didn't even realize in the clip, this is minimum 35 on the right, not even minimum 40. Like, my god, man. This poor weapon.
Significantly less.
Please save it one day, man. Like, this weapon deserves redemption more than, like, any other right now. Also, small note, can I make a brief comment? Using the rails like they do in Moray to jump across this and jump on a snipe is more than they ever do anything with them in Splatoon 3. I just have to point that out. Like, no use of rails in that game is as creative as this one, and that's kind of sad.
When these weapons did see use. Most people know that the one-shot...
And then, yeah, we put this in. Of course, we had to use this meme at some point.
Blasters.
I think the little Chris should have been changed to a K52, but I still like the I Heart 52 over here. This comment on the bottom right isn't true. See, if you do the old inkjet out of bounds glitch, you could go much higher and then swap to machine. Should have done that for the footage. That would have been really funny if we were just above the training room. I didn't think of that. If you think this looks bad, by the way, I have to point out, this isn't even using run speed. This is how much slower they are without run speed. If you put run speed on both these Splatlings, it will make this one way faster, and it will barely do anything to this one. And this holds true for every single Splatling. This was, like, even more egregious than the weapons. Like, Inkbrush was released like a few days after the game came out, which is
Splatoon 1 weapons
so
were
funny.
Also just not available at launch, like Range Blaster or Bamboozler. So on top of a bunch of nerfs to these
like until November, if you're a Hydra player, the game came out in July, you have to wait 4 months to get the same weapon that was available in the previous game. And it also has a splashdown, and it's also super nerfed. Like, if you were a weapon specialist and you played some of these weapons, oh my god. Like, the wait for second kits in S3 was super annoying, but this is arguably much worse. Dude, I played Brella in single player to practice it because I saw it and I knew this would be a weapon I liked. Like, immediately I realized this would fit me possibly better than every weapon. And, like, honestly, it probably still does. Maybe Dread fits me slightly better because of the AoE, maybe, but I don't know. It's been too long since I've been able to play a good Brella. So, like, I don't know how I would play Brella with, like, how I am today. But, like, outside of Dread, by far fit me the best, and I knew it. Like, I saw it, and I immediately knew it, too. So I played it a little bit in single player, and then I used it in a tournament when it came out, and I got to winners finals with it. I won my first ever set, played right when the weapon drops. That's still one of my favorite memories all the way back in Splatoon 2.
By the way, it's worth noting that the single player has the launch balance of every single weapon that you can access in hero mode.
I'm really glad I got to put this in the video. I've mentioned that on stream every now and then, but I've never really had a place to put it in a main channel video, so I really hope this gets more people to check it out, because honestly, it is really fun to go back and take a look.
Curling bombs originally were always at their maximum explosion size, and
low-key, I swear this is not the Dread D-Bias speaking to me. I think they should kind of bring this back. It shouldn't be as good as it used to be. This used to be really broken. But I do think the same way they made Fizzy more interesting by making it less of a paint tool and more of a combat tool, I feel like making this closer to a lethal bomb, even if still slightly weaker, would make this one more interesting. I'd like to see that same kind of idea here of, like, making it a little bit better in that regard.
Charging them just made them explode closer to you. Curling Rush would actually maintain this larger side after Curling Bomb was nerfed.
And I also really like this. I've always found it cool that Curling Bomb Rush happens to, like, keep old curling. Like, it's still there. If you want to see what old curling was like, minus being able to charge it to have it closer to you, go pick a curling launch weapon and throw it around. And you can experience exactly what it was like. That's cool. I really like that kind of thing. I like these throwbacks to weapons like that. In fact, that's something I'd like to see more often. Like, imagine a challenge mode where you get to play a weapon and it was in its old broken state. Like, imagine it was a challenge of, like, playing Tri-Slosher, and Tri-Slosher was its old broken variant. Like, that'd be so cool. Lightweight isn't something I really get to talk about much in this series. I know for the average viewer it's kind of boring, but lightweight was very important. Lightweight weapons have easier access to running Ninja Squid. They still do. And in general, just being faster is better. It's less gear dependency. It's very strong. Like, a lightweight weapon buff is a lot more important than people give it credit for. It actually is really important. I hope we see more of it. Can we make, like, Reg Rapid lightweight? That would be really cool.
And Cold-Blooded existed for a short time. It was a stackable ability that...
This is possibly the worst ability they've ever added to the game. Like, in S1, Cold-Blooded was also like this as a main exclusive ability, but it was 1, stronger, and 2, S1 had Echolocator. Echolocator located your entire team for 12 seconds at its peak, right? Like, that's what it did. And there was no way to prevent it. So Cold-Blooded made sense in that game because there was a special that just brute force location to everyone and there was nothing you could do about it. This was the only quote-unquote counterplay just to make it last less long. And even then, it was only a main ability you had to invest into, so it made a little bit more sense. In this game, it just doesn't work at all. I'm glad it eventually got merged with, like, Bomb Defense for Bomb Defense DX. I'm also glad Bomb Defense doesn't affect specials anymore. I see some people requesting that at some point, but it's like, it's going to be incredibly annoying for balance. Like, oh, Inkjet is just a 3-shot indirect special now. Like, just screw you, I guess. Like, I promise you the effects would be mostly negative, and I'm very glad they didn't do it. Bomb defense being bomb defense DX and affecting more things, and only working on subs is probably the best way we could have had a balanced version of bomb defense and defense up in cold-blooded, so it worked out in the end. I gotta be honest, guys, I'm a super stealth jump supporter. I think it's very healthy on the game, and its effects cannot be understated. But I gotta say, dude, this, like, completely invisible from less than splatter shot range, it's kind of stupid. I won't lie. This isn't just, like, dying to mint decapitator talking. I think that this probably should be a little bit larger. And I'm frankly kind of surprised it isn't, given how common it is in S3, that this has never been changed. This post-commentary is really just talking a lot about the balance changes themselves rather than the video production, but hey, that's probably going to be the case for meta histories, because, you know, that is kind of the topic that we're talking about.
Infinite range, but also no longer slowing your jump.
Also, there are so many other examples of bad early S2 map design. If you think we had it bad in early S3, and early S3 was bad, no, this was worse. This isn't the worst example. The worst example is Starfish Rainmaker. You can climb, I think it shows later in the video. I'll point it out when we get there. I also just realized, this is also totally random. Do we have a rail like this? Where it's your only way to retreat, and it's inked, like, you know, from your side going backward? I don't think we have one like this either in S3. Interesting.
Day one. By comparison, Splatoon 3's launch basically changed almost nothing besides a few small bomb nerfs.
And that was a good thing. Right here. Look at this fucking wall, dude. Look at this wall. The snipe stuff is ridiculous too. You can see that ramp and giant walls over there. Those are equally silly, by the way. Like, this whole spawn region is so much worse than modern Starfish. Like, look at this. There's like a Rainmaker free over there too. This is all messed up. But, like, you put the rain up here and you just sit here and you just spam the Rainmaker shots down, and there is nothing they can do about it, because other than walking up, you have to go all the way around, and then you still have to climb this same block to get up here. They could just camp the rain forever, and then if you wipe one time, they can swim and jump to the goal immediately. Oh my god. This block should have never made it into the game. Never. We would have never seen something like this in S3 at all. I cannot wait till we get to talk about Tri-Slosher. There is a lot you need to say about Tri-Slosher, but that's it for this recording. So yeah, thanks for watching.